One, two, three. Da 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 dun 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 da 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 da. Happy 4th of July weekend. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Tom Carlson Show for MF Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. Where's the summer going? Oh my god. How are ya? This is going to be the weirdest 4th of July ever. Am I allowed to celebrate America on Saturday without the risk of getting canceled and my podcast taken off iTunes? Jesus Christ, man. I thought things were calming down about, I don't know, since the last one, maybe a week ago. And all of a sudden, Jesus Christ, people are losing their minds. Is it summer heat or something? You know, probably don't have as many of these riots and violence going on in, fucking Siberia. It's too cold. So this is going to be a little all over the place today, but I'm going to touch on a few things. Few things. I guess I shouldn't just say that. I'll show you what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about what's going on here in New York, some of the counter-protest things going on across the country, breaking news, vaccine updates, sports, 4th of July, and some Muslim shit. Okay? The reason I bring up Muslim shit is because, based on the fucking videos I've been seeing, we're about 2 weeks away from, car bombs being a normal thing here. Not that Muslims are into car bombs. It just so happens that the bad ones use them, It's not in the Quran to use car bombs, I'm pretty sure. Not that I've read it. But, man, dude. So, if you would like to see a good website to see how your state's doing, Josh Potter, it's coronavirus.jhu.edu, and then there's a million ones in there, but the one that I like is testing/individual-states/ whatever one you want. So everybody, and I mean everybody, is fucking mad at New York right now. What did we do? So I just checked today. Let's see. We are at, we're back up. We're at 1.1% positive testing. But, compared to everywhere else, that's amazing. So I still am a fan of this motherfucker. His name's Josh Potter, okay? Ugh, gross. And he is part of the, kind of became known from the Your Mom's House podcast network, where Tom Segura and Christina P. have their weekly show. He comes on. I mean, he's a hilarious guy. However, most of the hilarity is coming from, like, them making fun of him, or, making him wear tit cups, or talking about the fact that he can't come. And so that's not really my type, because to me that's like the same thing as what I hate with, like, the Amy Schumers of the world that just talk about their vaginas on stage. Like, I don't want to hear that. But he's a really funny guy. He can tell stories like nobody's business. He's way funnier than me. He's been doing this for 10 years. So I'll tell you a little bit about what happened and what I'm going to have to do now. I don't know, whatever it was like USA Today. New York State is not allowing people in, no, they are allowing people in. He took it as they weren't, I think. But you got to self-quarantine for 14 days if you come to New York. And I really hope and probably believe what Cuomo's been saying is if there is if it becomes known that the quarantines are not being happened, and you have agreed to do that, I think people are going to be prosecuted in a certain way. I don't think there's any jail time, but maybe a fine. And speaking of money, the fact that none of this actual stimulus stuff or my own employment checks are still not coming in. So, anyways, I was like, Josh, dude, New York has handled this better than any other state, blah, 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 blah. And I explained it fairly articulately. I didn't really come at him. And then he's like, wait, what? So you're saying New York has done this the best? And then he does like the really bitchy, like, I mean, ... Like, I mean, like, how bitchy is that, right? And then he threw some graph up there, which seemed to be like a death statistics thing. And, you know, I wasn't here to like crush him too hard because, you know, you're not supposed to do that to people who are actually good within the comedy community. But it's just like any kind of graph without context is meaningless and lazy. I didn't say that. I just said like graphs are cool. But like I believe in the structure of what we're doing. I lost my job here through all of this. And there's a reason we're at 1.1%. When the bodies are adding up, there's going to be sociopathic behavior at the political level everywhere. But what are you going to do? You do what you can. So that's what we've done here. And then he didn't respond to that. And I was like, it seemed like it just gave me a sicky feeling. You know, it's not good. But like, if you're going to come at my state or my city, you know, not that I'm a real New Yorker at this point, but through all the shit I've seen over here and like the total buy-in of everyone that I see, it's a little, I'm not going to fucking let people talk to my quote unquote friends like that. So, it felt pretty good. I felt, I mean, I don't think either of us won one. I think I was definitely correct, but it's like, why are we even having this argument, you know? And then, so I was like, ugh, this is gross. And then I was like, well, I might as well get something fucking out of this. So I pinned one of my Instagram things of like how to watch / listen to this show. Cause he's got like, I didn't post it in the in the thread, but I posted it on mine and pinned it on my Twitter. And I've got like 300 views. So, you know, that's how you do it, baby. Classic Chappelle. Gotcha, bitch. But, you know, I mean, one of the things I was thinking about, I mean, I was stewing on this for like 6 hours afterwards. So, lesson learned for me that like, I just got to like pick my spots more carefully because I don't want to be another person adding to fucking the chaos and evil that is people shooting things off at the hips on Twitter, trying to just create and get followers, which, like, another thing that I've noticed with some comedians, I mean, here's the thing, like, he's been a comedian for like 10 years. He's got, I don't know, 20,000 followers on Twitter, 50,000 on Instagram. Why the fuck are you talking to me, man? You think I'm going to be talking to someone in 10 years who's just starting out like this? No fucking way. So I told him I loved him and I was like, dude, I like your stuff and everything, you know, go smoke a cigarette, chill the fuck out. And he didn't say anything to that. So but you know, nobody wins in that. Maybe I was right, but like I felt like shit for like 8 hours afterwards, you know, so lose. But it's like, why are people angry over here? Anyways, breaking news. And I will talk about this far more on a Patreon show, probably within... since it's coming out right now, I need to make some comments so people can know how smart I am when things come into play. Ghislane Maxwell has been arrested. Let me pull up some of the details on it. If you don't know who Ghislane Maxwell is, she was Epstein's wifey of sorts. And sorry, I could have been prepared, but you know, I don't do that. It's all live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Anybody know who that is? Bill O'Reilly? Okay. All right, Ghislane Maxwell. And you will remember on a couple episodes ago, 2 or 3, when we were talking about George Floyd, I was like, dude, we have to get Ghislaine Maxwell. And if you can't tell all these things are connected, you're part of the problem, even if you're doing good things. So, Ghislaine Maxwell, I said a couple of weeks ago, I was like, we have to get her and Les Wexner, or else nothing that we are doing with the Black Lives Matter movement means a piece of shit. Because the high levels and actual people at the very top political level and people with more power than I can imagine know what she is connected to. I believe Bill Gates knows what she's connected to. Certainly the Clintons. And so when Hillary, that wretch, when she posted a thing the other day, just being an obnoxious bitch. She posted a coronagraph pic, another one without context. This is your fucking person who was almost president, and she's still complaining. And it was a graph with the charts going up, and she just like, great, I'm pretty sure that was it. And then my favorite guy in the comedy world right now, Tim motherfucking Dillon, he posted to her, and he's like, where's the graph with all the people you've killed? And it's just like, they're so sociopathic. They can't even wrap their heads around that. So they got Ghislane, and of all places, she was arrested in New Hampshire. I imagine she's got some crazy property up there. But for the most time, after old suicidal man there, wink wink, Epstein got arrested, she took off on a yacht and was just in the middle of the ocean for several months. But that's good news. I did not expect this to happen at all. However, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about it because it's kind of scary shit. So I will do like an hour-long show on the information I know and I've read from sources I trust, and I'll write down a bibliography of sorts for people to go read for themselves. But it's so important because all of this is operating with government eyes on it to some degree, and nothing was done for decades. I.e. Clinton, who in that documentary was on Epstein's plane to his private island 26 times, I think, in 3 months. So, yeah. So this is good news for everyone. It means that we can still have a tiny bit of faith, like 1%, that our country will take care of us. We got 99% more to go. So we'll see. But that just happened about an hour ago. So I'll do one of those real soon. Hopefully I can predict some things. I would not be surprised at all if people disappear, because she knows everything that happened. I mean, I think Prince Andrew might be the next one to get arrested. But the people he was connected to, man, it's bad. And it's way more complicated than what I'm telling you right now. There's a whole lot of things involved, including international espionage and those spy agencies from other countries involved in this. And really, in the United States, well, no, I don't want to waste it. So that's on the Patreon show. I'll figure out. It's going to be like, I don't know, $2 a month or something like that. Maybe $5. It'll only be $5 if they're like killer things. If they're short things, like 20-minute stuff, I'll just do like $2. Okay, so that's good news. My family and friends back home in Boise just got their ass kicked the other night. And I was telling my buddy who still lives there, I was like, because I come from the South, and my entire fucking childhood, all I heard was how racist the South is and how evil the South is in every one of our goddamn textbooks. And they just made fun of the South all the time, including the fucking teachers. And, that's deserved, but, not everyone in the South is a racist. And I think what the other night showed is that racism is really not tied to any geographic region of the country anymore, because of how connected the world is. via internet. And man, dude, Boise got their ass kicked by. It was supposed to be a defund the police thing, which is kind of. I understand what they're trying to do. But I was watching this police officer on his way because they called the police to go protect the protesters, who were protesting defund the police. And then this wasn't in Boise, this is another place, but yeah, it was pretty crazy to see. So I was telling my buddy, I was like, man, the Northwest is skated by appearing in media as this really nice, quaint, lumberjack, good old, good. They don't have good old boys, just like hunters, fishers, potato farmers, of course. And I think for the first time in probably a lot of Boiseans' lives, they saw how their state and their area of the country is essentially as racist as any of the other places. If not more so, because it's such a bubble. It's changing now because Boise, the city, is getting significantly larger, and so it's more diverse. But the rest of Idaho is still just whiteys, and they have their guns and all that stuff. But when you are taught in a area of the country like I was in elementary school, in junior high, in high school, when you're taught that racism is essentially just connected to the South, you're setting yourself up for a fucking explosion, which happened the other night. So it's really, and the one thing I was talking to my buddy Tim, I was like, man, things are so much deeper, and strings are way longer and connected to things that people don't even realize, that the ultra sensitivity to everything is not helping. And so, I might sound like I'm in a pretty decent mood, which I am, but that's because I really am careful with how much I expose myself to extremist views on both sides. And what kills me is when, the white knights who are trying to do the right thing, apparently, are like, you know what, you're either 100% with us or you're against us. That's such bullshit. And not being able to have empathy, understanding, and reasoning with the person on the other side isn't going to allow your movement to get anywhere. It's just going to drive people further and further apart. So take a step back, breathe, relax. Remember that America has been doing this for 300 years, and we're still here. We may not be here in a few years because we'll all die of a disease, but it's not going to be, we're not going to not be here and shit's going to go, we're all going to be like imprisoned or fucking dead because of the protests and counter protests. We will be okay. If anything, we will be, here's how it's going to go, I think. We'll either be far better than we have been in a couple years, or we're going to be banging it out like the Sunnis and the Shias. And so when I was younger, I was always like, what the fuck is the difference here? Okay? And I'm going to read a little thing from the BBC, okay? A little bit of topical commentary, a little bit of learning here for you guys so you can sound better at your bar trivia. Okay. The divide between Sunnis and Shia is the largest and oldest in the history of Islam. Members of the two sects have coexisted for centuries and share many fundamental beliefs and practices, but they differ in doctrine, ritual, law, theology, and religious organization. So essentially, it's a difference between let me think. So my parents were Protestant, or not Protestant, but they're Presbyterian. It's like Protestants versus Catholics, to a degree. So it's not like that big of a deal, but it's a huge deal at the same time. So, who are the Sunnis? Write this down for whenever your bars open up again, maybe next year. The great majority of the world's more than 1.5 billion Muslims are Sunnis. Estimates suggest that the figure is anywhere between 85 and 90%. In the Middle East, Sunnis make up 90% of the population of Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. Now, what do you think of those countries in comparison to some of the other ones? A little more, less explosive, so to say. Oh! Sunnis regard themselves as the orthodox branch of Islam. I might have just totally contradicted myself. We'll see. The Sunni name derived from the phrase al-Sunnah. Sorry. People of the tradition. Okay, so like conservatives, okay? The tradition in this case refers to practices based on what the Prophet Muhammad said, did, agreed, or condoned. All Muslims are guided by the Sunnah, but Sunnis, wow, this is why I always forget. The Sunnis stress its primacy. Shia are also guided by the wisdom of Muhammad's descendants through his son-in-law, cousin Ali. Sunni life is guided by 4 schools of legal thought, each of which strives to develop the application of Sunnah. Shia constitute about 10% of the Muslims globally, population estimated between 154 and 200 million. Okay. Shia Muslims are the majority in Iran, Iraq, Bahrain, Azerbaijan, according to some estimates in Yemen. There are also large Shia communities in Afghanistan, India, Kuwait, Lebanon, Pakistan, Qatar, Syria, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. So, let's see, I need to figure out current days. Okay, let's just be really ignorant here. Who is more deadly? Sunni or Shia? Or who has killed more people recently? Oh God, this is coming from American Diplomacy. Okay. Real quick. Up front, okay, this is a Barry Rubin. He is a doctor of something. Dr. Rubin takes on an issue making the rounds in various academic circles, addressing the comparative level of threat from Shia or Sunni Islamists. Up front, Rubin identifies the Shia as the primary threat, but only because of the power and reach of the Shia Iranian state. Iran is the greatest strategic threat to the Middle East because of the verge of obtaining nuclear. Okay, so we got to ride with the Sunnis, all right? And now, some Shia, I'll ride with the Shias too. Like, whoever wants to listen to the show, okay? That's who I'll hop on, all right? I'll go do a show in Iran. I'll clean. I would totally do that, dude. Even if I made the mistake, that would be the thrill of a lifetime, man. Okay. Oh, man. Well, what is everybody doing for the 4th? Hopefully you guys can listen to this. Hopefully on your way up to McCall, the mountains, the beach, what have you. I will still be in my 100 square foot apartment in New York. Hopefully I can go to some fireworks and at least enjoy that. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to be another person just in a giant fucking crowd. So don't blow your fingers off like Jason Pierre-Paul. That will happen. And let's see. What are we going to talk about? Oh, yeah. So it does appear the NBA is going to restart. And the biggest concern I have heard from all the first take fucks is, and this makes sense 100% to me. You tell me. Is that these NBA players are not going to stay in the bubble. They're not taking their families. They could be there for maybe a couple months. And if you know anything about NBA players, they get around. So that's been all of the feedback, or not the feedback, but the talking points I've seen, that they're just going to go out and start banging chicks because they can't help themselves because they're NBA players. I did see this was a pretty violent week in New York. I think there were like 93... I don't know if it was killings or gunshot victims in 1 week. So, defund the police, okay. So the idea is to take the money away from the police and use it in community things, which makes sense to me, but at what point, and this is an ideological question, on what point do you protect people from themselves? And so I would say the liberals would say it's the government's job to protect people, because that's to say the government's job to do everything, right? But then that's the same people who are asking to defund the police. I did see in Minneapolis, I forget who it was at their legislative level, small city stuff, but they are working on a defund the police legislation, and they are now using taxpayers' money to pay for a private security force for those people. So how great is that? And then, did you guys see the Karen thing? This was a real comment by a lady. A lady! Guess what? Guess what skin color she was? She said, please don't say the K word, Karen. It's just the same as saying the N word and blah, 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 blah. 100% serious. And so that's just the battle I'm having to face. And I was talking to another buddy of mine the other day, John, let's just say that. And I'm like, it's such a ridiculous time when, and I'm really not, I have to be careful and it wears me out, but I really say what I'm thinking. But the fact that I have to think about what I'm saying so much so I don't get canceled in 2 years, it's a lot more difficult to have a flow, to have a story that's funny and that is naturally, working as like stream of consciousness through your head. And I think I'm smart enough to figure out how to do it, just because, in talking with my parents, I started out this podcast cursing like a mofo, and I've made an intent to not do that so much, and it's getting a little better. I'm not gonna say frickin', because that's the lamest thing ever, but someday if I want to be on the Tonight Show, I can't swear. So start practicing now, and maybe I won't get canceled. But Tim Dillon, who he needs to start paying me for advertisement. He makes such good points. My God, you guys gotta follow him. The point is, like, nobody retires in show business, and so the older you get, the more likely is you're not as in touch as what's going on. You probably said some things not even really your fault. That's what I get a kick about. Look at this 80-year-old racist. It's like, what did you expect him not to be racist? Everybody at that time was. You want to hear something? My grandma, I love you, Gran, a wonderful woman, did great things, was really good for the community. So shut the fuck up. My grandma, she lived in North Carolina, and she's dead and gone now. But she grew up in very poor North Carolina, right when this is probably the early 1900s, like 1920s, and her father had a farm, and they lived in like a wood shack on the farm in North Carolina. And so that naturally, living in that, you're going to have negative views. She was a nice person. She went to church and stuff, but she really didn't want to have anything to do with black people, or at that time, that was the only other race. Is that correct? Race in the U.S. And when we got older, she got a lot better, because she's a reasonably intelligent, loving woman, and she started to see things were wrong from the past, right? But one time we were driving Elman. Man, she was the worst driver at her old age. Aggressive, to say the least, and very hard on the gas and brake. We were driving by one of those, what do you call it? Rest area things where it's got like the gas symbol, the food symbol, the fork and knife symbol, the water symbol or whatever. She's like, you know why they put those things up there, Thomas? So the Mexicans can know where they can get some food. And I was just like, Gran, what did you say that for? But it was pretty funny, And, if if someone connects that to me and I get canceled, I'm willing to fucking quit this business because the lack of we still have we do have our First Amendment rights. I hope that's the one for free speech. And but you really don't, because if you take someone's ability to earn a living away because of what they may potentially say, even if you know the person, that's the thing, you got to know the person. And some of these people who are trying to get people canceled, like, why are you trying to cancel Joe Rogan? What has he ever done? He's done some dumb shit. He's not a bad guy. Why are you trying to cancel Joey Coco Diaz? I fucking love the fact that I gotta find his name. Saturday Night Live comic fired. Shane Gillis, dude, he's really coming back. And it's comedian fired from SNL for making bigoted comments. Comedian Shane Gillis fired for SNL over racist comments. They weren't. They're jokes. Okay? If we can't make fun of everyone, we're going to be making jokes about why the chicken crossed the road. Okay? You want that? Do you want everything in life to be vanilla? Speaking of colors, a gray is a color that exists. And there are a whole lot of variants. So this 100% against us, 100% with us shit is so bad. I can't even say be an adult because the adults are doing it. But Shane Gillis is doing some shows and he's getting a lot of good feedback. So I'm really happy for him. So he got fucked over. And it was other comics, just like this. No, never mind. God, dude. Other comics got him in trouble for it. That's why I would like to do some alt comedy here and there. But for the most part, those alt comics can suck my nuts. Get that? And anyways, have a great 4th of July. Enjoy it. Shut your phone off. Power the whole thing down, man. Just go out there, stare at some trees, have a beer for me, and get fried with some sun, man. You come back to the city, and you'll feel like $100. So take care, everybody. Don't blow up your fingers. And I'll see you back on Monday. Goodbye there.